first home in an area that was undervalued, in my opinion, and it was expected to increase in value. I had researched projects happening in the surrounding areas that could also potentially boost property values, i.e. Wegmans. I bought my second and forever home unexpectedly while I was showing a house to a client. I did give them the first opportunity to write an offer, or I was. He might have thought that it was a very aggressive negotiation tactic on my part at the time, but it was not. Recently, we took out a HELOC, which is when you can borrow a percentage of your equity from the bank. We then use some of that money to then add on to our current home to just meet our needs better. This then increases our property value, and it was a much smarter option in the long run than just buying a whole brand new house. And now in turn, we probably have more equity than what we purchased the property for to begin with. Everything in real estate investing has to make sense. We then ended up renting our first house, and we got our first taste of landlord life. We then proceeded to buy 4 more in that same up-and-coming neighborhood. We bought 2 with a 20% down payment because they were investment properties, and unfortunately that is what you have to do. Unless it's a primary residence, you can put down less than 20%. So then we flipped one of those properties, and the most interesting one was one that we had bought all cash. I'm not a fan of putting all of one's eggs in one basket, so we did very few small home improvements, and then we went to a mortgage lender and we cashed out refinance, which means we were able to take all of our cash back, and we then got a 15-year mortgage. I believe they call this the Burr method. I never knew at the time that there was a fancy name for it, but now I do. And then we rented it out. We did end up selling it a few years later, and then we rolled our profits into stocks, and, including my daughter's 529 college plan, so we could better diversify our total investment portfolio. The other one was a large 5-bedroom fixer-upper. We got a mortgage using a 20% down payment. We are still renting it to this day, and fair market value at the time was probably $1,500 a month, but now the fair market value is actually probably closer to $2,200 a month, and our mortgage payment was only $900. So it's a pretty good cash flow. The last one we purchased cash from the owner. We then sold it almost immediately to an investor for $75,000 more than we paid for it. We then eventually bought 2 city properties. One I purchased with only $10,000 out of pocket, which did require a little bit of creativity. And they're all still current rentals. We signed up for Wilmington Housing Authority, which by another name goes by Section 8. And oftentimes we rent to tenants who have vouchers, and Wilmington Housing Authority will deposit your rent on the 1st of every month, which is nice. And if your rent is more than the tenant's voucher, then the tenant pays you back the difference. What's also great about the program is the tenant has to maintain the property in good condition. And they have to stay on top of their portion of the rent. If they do not comply with all of this, they can risk getting kicked out of the program. And if this happens, then they can never be in the program again. So you typically don't have problems with these kinds of tenants if you think that may be a concern. We also bought 3 multifamily properties. One is a triplex, and the other 2 are duplexes. One interesting thing that we most recently did for one of the duplexes is we subdivided the lot to sell to a builder. It came with a double lot. The subdivision is still in process, but we are currently under contract for $50,000. That almost completely pays us back for our down payment. And then our plan is to most likely then invest the money into our other properties to then increase their value to get a higher cash flow. On me and my husband's first date, we both actually talked about how we wanted to own rentals one day and how we wanted to become landlords. So we now own 10 rental units together. My point in sharing my real estate journey is to show all of you all of the unique things that you can do buying and selling real estate to make money and to make more money. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please write your questions in the comments and please subscribe.